Alrighty, Shabbat Shalom, Miss Bakad. This is Maury Medad Yahu Ben Yashrael, and you have just tuned in to Living Branch Hebrew Assembly, and we want to welcome you to the broadcast. And we're continuing our series, Help Me With My Flesh, Part 3. Some already know what we're going to be talking about today because those that have conversed with me, I asked that they would be praying with me, because my desire for this lesson is to help people. Because I am here to help, and a lot of the lessons that I do, I've been listening to our listening audience, and some have emailed me in the different things that they struggle with in the flesh. And today's subject is no different. There's many that do struggle in, and I wouldn't say struggle. This right here becomes a matter of obedience, the subject today, and what you want to do. So excuse me. So we just want to say Shabbat Shalom to all of our Mizpachah out there that are logging on, that are signing in to our live stream feed. We say Shabbat Shalom to you. We're praying that Yahuwah Elohim will continue to barak you and keep you. And this is our endeavor to try to help those that are out here that are looking for help. Not everybody wants help. Some people know that they have problems and they just want to exist in those problems, and hey, that's fine. But my thing is, I'm here to help those that want to be helped and that want to get better and that want to live righteously in the kingdom. That's what it's all about. So this week has been a very good week. Much fellowship, much studying, just trying to hone in to see where the Father is leading. So let's just get a few of these little things out the way. If you need to email me, you can email me at info@living-branch.org. You can also check out our websites. Our witnessing website is yahuwah.co. That's where we're featuring our bookmarker that we pass out, that we send people to that site so that they can follow along with the bookmarker. Our main website is living-branch.org. And then if you want our blog and all of our e-store and other things, you can find that at hebrewfoundation.org. So today we're going to pray first, and then we're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you what the topic is, and we're going to go full steam ahead. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Father, thank you for another Shabbat. Thank you for all of those under the sound of my voice. I just ask you, Father, to continue to impress upon us the importance of being set apart, the importance of following Torah. Father, thank you for all things, Father, even though some things that we have prayed about and sought, you have given us different direction and turned us a different course, because you see what's down the road and you know what's best for us. So we say Todah in everything, Father, and I pray that you give us strength in this lesson, strength of heart, mind, and that we would just listen to your Ruach. Let your Ruach HaKodesh flow through this to help others and to minister to others. And we say Todah, Father, for all of our listeners. Be with them in the name of Messiah Yahusha. Hallel to Yahuwah. Amen. Alrighty, so we're going to be talking today, Miss Bakar. I've had a few emails on this, so I said I better go ahead and address it. Why it's in my Ruach, and the Father was leading me to it. So we're going to talk about homosexuality and lesbianism today. And we're going to walk this thing out through the scriptures. All right, let's start. So this is a major challenge for some that need help with their flesh. So when we deal with the subject below, in the below subject area, we have to understand the design and purpose of Yahuwah in creation when he made male and female. The design and function are very clear. So when we're dealing with these two subjects, homosexuality and lesbianism, we have to go back to his design and his purpose. Now, before we get into that, I just want to read you a couple of scriptures, and we're going to go more extensively into these a little later. And that's in Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. You should not lie with mankind, that's zakar, as with womankind. It is abomination. Neither shall you lie with any beast to defile yourself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Then if you jump over to Leviticus, the 20th chapter, Uigrid 20th chapter, verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, so each lie with mankind, zakar, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. Now, I want you to notice now, because a lot of people they say, well, it doesn't mention women in these two particular scriptures as far as woman lying with woman. So they use that to justify that it's okay, but we're going to walk this thing out clearly and see what the scriptures really pointing to. Because remember, for a man, he's actually carrying the life or the seed. He gives the seed. So that seed, if you remember when he's doing the duty of a brother-in-law, if his brother died and didn't have a seed, he's supposed to marry his brother's wife and raise up a seed for his brother. That seed is so important in the eyes of the Father. That's why if that seed is deposited anywhere else other than Yahuwah's design, it's called an abomination. Okay, so let's continue to walk it out. Now let's look at male and female. Let's go back to creation. And it says in the 27th verse of Bereshit of Genesis, chapter 1, and Elohim created man in his own image, and in the image of Elohim created he, male and female created he them. So the word there for male is zakar. Okay, and we'll get to the definition. I just did a little picture graphic here. The zayin, the kaf, and the resh. So he's piercing important cover or hollow, or he's piercing important and give. So what is he piercing? So if you know anything, initially when a woman is a virgin, she has a covering, and that covering is the hymen of the vaginal, right past the vaginal opening. That's how they determine usually determine if she's a virgin, whether that covering has been pierced. So he's designed to pierce. Now, what I find is interesting about the word female here, and we'll get into the actual definition. This is nakeba. Now, notice here, and I started to look at this picture graphically. Life, final, house, behold. So before the baby is born, this was where he stayed, or she stayed for 9 months. So that was actually a housing place for the male seed. And that housing place is interesting because once she has the baby, now she has to go on what's called a separation period, depends on whether she had a male or female. So that life comes out of her, and she has to separate herself for a certain amount of days based on whether it's male or female. So that was the life's final resting place for the male seed was in her, and now that life comes out and lives in the world or the earth. Now, when we look in here, just to give you a zakar, okay, it means remembered. To mark, and this is the root word here, to mark as to be recognized, to remember, by implication to mention. Now, I found this interesting when I found in the Hebrew Chaldean lexicon, a male as being he through whom the memory of parents is continued. Now, if you know anything about DNA and chromosomes, the male has a Y chromosome that's passed on to every person in his lineage. So that Y chromosome can also act as a marker. Just wanted to kind of bring that out, how that works, just a little bit, not in detail. There are people out there that are better experts than me, and I don't consider myself by no means an expert. Can't say you're an expert just because you watch one or two videos. But that marking, and another thing, and remembered, zakar. So when he pierces the woman and gives her the seed, that seed carries on through all the generations. Remember, it talks about Abraham, and the father told Abraham, through thy seed all the nations of the earth shall be barak. Now for the female, notice it doesn't give much here. It just says female from the sexual form. And when you look at it, nakaba, and it comes from the root word kab, which is to pierce, to perforate. Now if you notice, the woman by design is functionally made for the man. He has a piercing instrument. She can be pierced. We're going to see this. Now, what was the command? Listen to what he told them in the 28th verse of Bereshit. And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So we pull out of here para, to bear fruit. So they were supposed to have offspring. Okay. They were supposed to rabah, which is to increase. And what else were they supposed to do? Supposed to multiply. That means to fill. So increase until they fill. Reproduce, increase until you fill. And that's Malay. Right here is Malay in the Hebrew. To fill, to be full of. Now, we have to keep this in mind. This was the design and what the Father spoke for the male and the female, which he created in his own image. Now let's look at some examples of the command. Bereshit chapter 8 verse 17. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle and of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. Okay, this was talking to Noah. Okay, then Bereshit chapter 9 verse 1. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Did you hear? Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Okay, and then Genesis, or Bereshit chapter 17 verse 6. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Genesis, or Bereshit chapter 35 verse 11. And Elohim said unto him, I am El Shaddai, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Now notice over in Shemota, Exodus chapter 1 verse 7. And the children of Yashrael were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. So you can see the design of the Father: be fruitful, multiply, replenish, or fill. So this is his design. This is his purpose. If you don't get this, then when it comes down to it, you're going to miss why certain acts are not according to Torah. Now, let's look at a union here. Let's look at the union of a man and a woman. A man and woman united. Only the union of a man and a woman produces the image of Yah. Okay, so look here. I want you to look right here. This is the word Ish. Okay, it's an aleph, a yod, and a shin. Now, if you take the yod out, you have the word fire right here. Now, the word for Isha right here is an aleph, a shin, a hey. Well, both of them have fire common. That's what it's trying to tell you. But look, when they come together, these letters are alike. But look what it produces. A yod, a hey are the different letters. So when they come together in Yahuwah's purpose, though both of them had fire within their names, it produces Yah, a yod and a hey. That's Yah in scripture. Only when they're coming together according to his purpose, his design, do you produce. When a man and woman come together and marry, it produces his image, Yah. Okay, and let's look here. I'm going to just take you some places where the word Yah is. And if you do more extensive research, you'll come up with Yah is the shortened form, or some say the poetic name of the Father. So when you look here in Psalms 68 verse 4, sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Now in the King James you'll see the word Jah, but it's Yah. There's a Yod and a Hey. And you'll find Yah all throughout the Psalms. So it's like when man and woman come together according to his purpose, it's poetry in motion. It produces his name, Yah. Isaiah 26:4. Trust you in Yahuwah forever, for in Yah Yahuwah is everlasting strength. So I just put here what the Strong's Concordance have, but I want you to see that it's a Yod and a Hey here. And the Strong's number, it'll tell you it's a contraction of Yahuwah, which is 3068. So when a man and woman come together as a union according to the covenants that Yahuwah has established, it produces, though they were fire, they had fire in them, it produces his image, Yah, here. What's the purpose? Reproduction. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. Because if you're doing what the commandments say, you're training up your child in the way he should go. So everything you produce should be producing. You should be training and teaching his commandments. Now I just threw this one in there in Bereshit chapter 18 verse 12. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old shall I have pleasure, my sovereign being old also. So there's a love factor, a pleasure factor that comes along, and you can look that one up for yourself. Now let's look at other unions, because this is where the confusion comes. Other unions, a man with a man. Now, a man with a woman produced the image of Elohim. But if you look here, a man with a man, basically you're going to be handed double fire. That's what's going to happen, because this is an abomination. It's not according to his design or purpose. No fruitful, no multiplying, no replenishing is possible with this union. And plus the seed is being given to a place he did not design for it to be given. It is an abomination because it involves the seed. And we're going to read later where all this behavior came from. This wasn't something that was a part of our nation. This was not something we sit down and have a conversation about in our nation. Now let's look at the other flip side. A woman with woman. So remember, a man with a woman produced what? The image, or produced the name Yah. What does a woman with woman produce? Remember, in the letter Hey means behold or reveal. They're going to behold double fire. This is not according to his design or purpose. And there's no fruit, there's no fruitful, there's no multiplying, there's no replenishing with a woman with woman. Can't follow his command whatsoever. Now, they didn't have all these things that we have made and come up with today for piercing a woman, piercing another woman. But it's not designed. She wasn't functionally made to pierce. She can't pierce anyone of herself. No. She's there. The Father's design is a male and a female. And she carries the life in her in her house, and then she gives that life birth to that life. You can't do this with this design. This design is not of the Father. They're going to double behold, double fire. So when women talk about, well, we don't see anywhere where he talks about a woman lying with the woman. There's nothing that a woman has on a woman that's supposed to be able to pierce another woman, because she wasn't designed for that purpose. So just the mere fact that you're trying to do it, saying that you're going against the creation order, because he didn't create you to be able to pierce. So I don't care how many appendages you strap on, or what you put on, or what you try to do. You weren't created for that purpose. And if you do that, you will behold double fire. He's going to reveal that double fire to you. Remember that fire that burneth, that lake that burneth with fire and brimstone. And some might say you're being harsh. No, I'm not being harsh. Because if we don't tell people, especially now, the nations, they can do what they want to. Do what you want. But in Israel, this stuff shouldn't even be named. Shouldn't even come up. Shouldn't even be heard of. Because it's not according to the design of Torah and his purpose. And he hasn't changed his purpose nor his design. Now, this is one of the categories of fornication, and there are many different acts. If you want to know all the different categories, go and look at our video on YouTube, What is Fornication According to Scripture. But I want to go over some of the things and we're going to read through them. In Shaul's writings, I'm going to read this one in a second. But in Yud, even verse 7, even Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth as an example of suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Now, we read that word abomination. Now, before I go and read these, I was looking at this word abomination, and something jumped out at me. I want you to see what's in the middle of abomination. The word abomination here. It's an ayin. That's an eye. And when you start to look at what's some of the symbols and signs in the world, what's in the middle of the triangle? US dollar. An eye. What was in the middle? What was some of the symbols that was used back in Egypt? An eye. And some of the doctrine that's brought forth. And you start to see people making shapes, putting their eye in the middle. Now let's look at this. And we can look at it a couple different ways. That's a tav, sign. Okay, I want you to follow along me. Sign secures eye, house, behold. Or you could say sign, behold, secures house, eye. So whatever this house, this abomination is, all this stuff is coming out of a house that has an eye in the middle. In other words, it comes from a knowledge that's revealed from a different source. Remember, we talked about there are two seeds, the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. Seed of the serpent, seed of the woman. And when you start researching the seed of the serpent, you're going to find out they talk a lot about illumination and what they're going, what knowledge you are missing because you don't have this all-seeing eye to reveal things to you. So, I mean, it's so many crazy things. Go out there and do a research for yourself. And you'll start to see where some of this doctrine comes from. It's designed to be disobedient to what the Father's commanded. Everything the Father's commanded, they do the opposite. So you got to see it for what it's worth. So we're going to read first. Let's go read Romans chapter 1 verse 18. So we go to Romans chapter 1 verse 18. And I appreciate your patience, Miss Bacall, because this subject, I mean, you're seeing so, and these things are getting so bold on TV and in public that is crazy. Okay, let's start the 18th verse. For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all unset apartness or ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them, for Elohim has showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So when Father created the animals, when Adam was naming the animals, he could see that there was a male, there was a female, but there was not found a suitable mate for him, a mate that was of his same kind. Even his eternal power and divinity or deity, or I would just say set apartness, so that they are without excuse, because that when they knew Elohim, they esteemed him not as Elohim, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the esteem of the uncorruptible Elohim into the image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Therefore Elohim also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor, listen to this, their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause Elohim gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women, now listen to this part now, did change the natural use into that which is against nature. How did Shaul is going from how the design and purpose of Elohim works. You can't change that. You can look outside. Male deer, female deer. Bull, cow. I mean, male bird, female bird. You see it in nature. And likewise also the man, leaving the natural use of a woman, burned in their own lust one towards another, man with man, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in himself the recompense of their error, which was met. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, why didn't they retain them? They fell away from his original design and what he had commanded for the purpose of that design. Elohim gave them over to a reprobated mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, complacible, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So let's roll over here. I want to highlight some things for you. It says, for this cause God Elohim gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Now I want you to notice where this stuff is coming from. We're going to go over here because we need to read some of these verses over here. But I wanted to highlight this. Leviticus 20 verse 23. And you shall not walk in the manner of the nation which I cast out before you, for they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. So we're going to go and read and see what they committed. This is the nations. This is why I'm trying to tell you, this type stuff wasn't supposed to be in Israel. It's in our people now because we got it from the nations. This is not a part of Torah. This is not a man being with a man or a woman being with a woman. That's not Torah. And you can't justify it because it's not a part of his original design. Okay, let's read. Just wanted to highlight Romans, the 27th verse. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of a woman, burning in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobated mind to do those things which were not convenient. My question is, Ms. Bakah, where did we learn all that stuff from? It came from the nations. This was not a part of our culture. And it still isn't a part of Yahuwah's Torah and what's taught and what's acceptable according to the Father. Don't care whether it's a man, don't care whether it's a woman. Woman with woman, man with man. It's against the created order. So let's run over here. We'll come back to that one. Let's look here. Let's go. First, we're going to go to Leviticus 18. Chapter 18, verse 22. And notice what it says. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Perversion. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants. So where did these practices come from? From the nations. It tells you right there. The goy. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. So we've got to get where these behaviors came from. This wasn't a part of Torah. Wasn't heard of. Okay, now let's go over to the 20th chapter. Let's read some verses there. Okay, I'm going to read a few more in this particular chapter because I want you to get a bigger picture of where some of this stuff comes from. It starts out with adultery here. A man lying with a married woman. Doesn't matter whether he's married or single. If you haven't watched that video, what is adultery according to scripture, it's over there on our YouTube channel. You can check it out. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife has covered his father's nakedness, uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. Now ask yourself, why does it say, and the man that lies with his father's wife? Why would it even say, why didn't it say lie with his mother? Okay, if you remember the story of how Reuben lost his birthright, he laid down with one of Abraham's concubines. Not Abraham, but Yitzhak's concubine. Wasn't caught, but the word was out there, and because he laid with one of his wives, then he lost his birthright. So this indicates that this man, this is not his mother. This is another one of the father's wives. If the other wife hasn't passed away, whatever the situation, whether he had more than one wife or another wife passed away. Okay, if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion, their blood shall be upon them. Now listen to all these different things now. We're going to find out where it came from. If a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. If a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. Notice in this case, they shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. If a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and you shall slay the beast. If a woman approach unto a beast and lie down thereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. they shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. If a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and shall see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing. And they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He has uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall bear his iniquity. If a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, talking about her doing her menstrual cycle, and shall uncover her nakedness, he has discovered her fountain, and has uncovered the fountain of her blood, and both of them shall be cut off from among their people. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor thy father's sister, for he uncovereth his near kin. They shall bear their iniquity. If a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Ye shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them, that the land whither I bring you to dwell, therein spew you not out. And you shall not walk in the manner of the nations which I cast out before you. Now listen with it. For they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. But I say unto you, ye shall inherit the land, and I will give it unto you for a possession, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am Yahuwah Elohim, which has separated you from the other people. Ye shall therefore put difference between clean beasts and unclean beasts, between unclean fowl and clean, and ye shall not make your souls abominable by beast, or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And you shall be set apart unto me, for I, Yahuwah, am set apart. I have severed you from other people, that you should be mine. A man also, or a woman that have a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. Thou shalt stone them with stones, and their blood shall be upon them. Did you read all of the sexual things, Miss Bakah? Here, you can go through chapter 18, 19, 20. Did you read all those things, where they came from? They came from the nations. This behavior was not a part of Israel, and is not going into the kingdom. So for those that want to, it's a matter of obedience. I don't care which way you want to turn it. Let's say, let's go with the theory you were born like that. Well, because your design is male, you have to do what you're commanded to do as a male. It's about being obedient. See, you're not going after what you want, but you're going after what he wants. So whether it's man with man, female with female, according to his purpose and design, it's a no-go. It ain't happening. Now you can be like the nations if you want to, because this is where that behavior came from, the nations. Do research into the Egyptian culture and some of the Greek culture. and you'll find these things out. Okay, let's go back over here. So where did that stuff come from? The nations. Now, I thought it was interesting. Not that I go out and seek the advice of rabbis and stuff, but I just thought I'd throw this in there because I thought it was interesting what some of the rabbis had to say. Rabbis on lesbianism. Lesbianism is not mentioned explicitly in the Bible. However, a proscription against such behavior is derived from another biblical passage. According to the deeds of the land of Egypt in which you dwell, you shall not do. And according to the doings of the land of Canaan, where I bring you, you shall not do. In their statutes you shall not walk. What were their statutes? A man would marry a man, a woman would marry a woman, and a woman would marry two men, and a woman would marry a woman and her daughter. Oh, excuse me. A man would marry a woman and her daughter. And that's by Rabbi Rappaport. Now, Maimonides said this in the Mishnah Torah. It's forbidden for a woman to immerse or play around with one another. This belongs to the practice of Egypt, which we have been warned, you shall not copy the practice of the land of Egypt. Although such conduct is forbidden, it is not punishable with lashes, since there is no specific prohibition against it, and no sexual intercourse takes place at all. So, what's the conclusion, Ms. Bakar? Yahuwah's design, man or ish with a woman, isha, to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish. This is his purpose. Any other design, man with man, woman with woman, can't fulfill Yahuwah's purpose and design. So that's automatically should let you know that that's a no-go. That's not permissible in this culture. It's not going to make it into the kingdom. You know, you can walk around, you can talk about how much love he has, but when you start adding it up and looking at Torah, this behavior is not going to be in the kingdom. So if you're struggling with this, or this is something that's crossed your mind, or the enemy's been attacking you with this, you need to fortify your spirit. And you need to fortify your spirit with what the Father hates. You need to fortify with what the Father likes and what is his design and purpose, so that you can combat what's coming at you. Because this spirit, this whole lifestyle is overtaking the earth right now. Every place you turn around, they're perpetuating this agenda. And what better way to decrease the population? Because remember, when you start talking to the elite, one of their things is population control. So a man with a man and a woman with woman can't produce any sin. So that's built-in population control right there. So they're doing it every which way they can think of. But we got to remember the Father's design and purpose. What is his design? What is his purpose? And we stick to that. And as you see, just go out and do a little research on the cults and all the different things. All this stuff is a part of their culture and what they believe. They're trying to blur the lines of gender And, now they just have a clothing store where everything in the clothing store a man or woman can wear. They're trying to blur those lines. And so this is what's being perpetuated by those that own all these companies, the media companies, the radio, the music. And if you know anything, just do a little research on Hollywood. What you have to find out, what you have to do to get those big films. It ain't got nothing to do with you got terrific acting skills. Trust me, you're going to have to do something that's that's just totally against scripture. Just research it. And if you need some help, email me. I'll send you some links of how the culture works in Hollywood and how when you want to get that big film, what you got to do and what the protocols are. And sad to say, some of the movie stars that we think are just the bomb, if you knew what they did to get there, you'd be shaking your head. But I'm going to leave that alone. But email me if you want to know more, because the information's out there. So email me. I want to try to cover what you're dealing with in your flesh. So email me at info@living-branch.org. I still have some other subjects we're going to deal with, but I want to know what you're dealing with so I can help you. And what I'm doing, I'm just pointing out the scripture and showing you the Father's design and what his purpose is and what he's commanded. Then it's going to be up to you to follow what he's commanded, what his design is. It's going to be a choice. It's going to be a choice, and that choice is going to be up to you. So you're going to have to make a decision. And so if you have subjects that you need help with or struggling with in your flesh, email me, info@living-branch.org. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm here to help you. But if you make the choice and go the other way, you can't say that you weren't given the path to follow. So it's a choice. Choose this day whom you will serve. Now, if you haven't already, go over and join our bookmarker witnessing team. We got people out there doing some great things, and it's all the way from Canada all the way across to Australia and all the UK and the different countries that we sent bookmarkers to, and those that have become a part of the bookmarker witnessing team here in the US. And these bookmarkers are really just been a barakah. They've been a blessing. They've really helped out in pointing people in the right direction. So if you want to reorder or need some more bookmarkers, or you just need to initially get some, go to www.bm.hebrewfoundation.org and fill out all the information. Make sure you give me your complete address with city, state, zip code. If you live in a different country, make sure you include all the appropriate information so I can get them to you. Now, if you'd like to support us in our endeavor to keep the bookmarkers flowing, to keep these broadcasts going, we have a couple of ways you can do. You can go to HebrewFoundation.org. You can donate through PayPal. Here's our PayPal address, donations@HebrewFoundation.org. If you prefer mail, you can mail it to us. This is our mailing address. And if you want to give using our online tool, which you can use checks or credit cards, you can do that too. Quick give, this is for debit and credit cards. You have to register if you want to use your banking account, and you can schedule giving so you don't have to continue to think about coming in. It'll automatically do it for you. And I want to thank all of those that have sent in donations. You have definitely been a barakah. You've been a blessing. You've helped us to purchase more bookmarkers. You've helped us to just maintain this broadcast and do the things we need to do. And we just say todah to you for the Father allowing you to be a blessing. And rest assured, nothing goes in my pocket. This has all been going towards reaching the lost sheep of the house of Yashrael. All right, we've just concluded Mishpachah, Help Me With My Flesh, Part 3, Homosexuality and Lesbianism. So hopefully this will strengthen those that are in the walk to understand those behaviors are not acceptable for us as a nation. So whether it's man with man or woman with man, that's not the Father's design. So if you have any questions, email me at info@living-branch.org. And we're just elated that you joined us. We say Shabbat Shalom to all of our Mishpachah out there. We just elated. Thank you for Todah for all the prayer requests. We can't say that enough. And we look forward to just continual fellowship. And if you haven't already, pop over to www.hebrewgathering.com and check out that website. We're just trying to make a place for people to have an alternative to Facebook where they don't have to worry about all the spammers. And because if I see a spammer come on there, they automatically delete it. And we can talk about wholesome topics and just have a place where if you need information, bam, you can go right there and get it. So it's growing. As it grows, we'll get more stuff on there. And thank those, todah to those that have already made some contributions in the forums or blogs. We really appreciate it. All right, Mr. Bakah, make sure you do some studying, some praying, fellowshipping. Hey, we're just looking forward to Father doing great things. And make this, as I always say, the best Shabbat ever. Delight yourself in Yahuwah Elohim and do his will. So for now,